EbonyLife has teamed up with AfDB and IFC to create a new investment vehicle for the African film industry. And also, Korean cinema, particularly their theaters, have recorded a low attendance ever in the industry, causing a lot of worry. And last but not the least is the Thomas Crown Affair remake by Michael B. Jordan has added on some powerful roster of actors. These and more right here on the Film Mandate. My name is Papa Otu. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Film Mandate, where I bring to you movie news, reviews, and reactions both from the African front and the international scene. Thank you for joining me for this very episode of the Film Mandate. So we'll be delving into the very first story. And the very first story, we have EbonyLife and IFC and AfDB teaming up to support the African film industry, to support the African film industry. And it reads that IFC AfDB EbonyLife to create a new investment vehicle for African film industry. And this is reported in the Business Day, an article, a news portal based in Nigeria. So we'll read. So this is actually written by Ngozi Ekugo. Yeah, Ekugo. So I read. The International Finance Corporation, IFC, and the African Development Bank, AfDB, recently announced the collaboration with EbonyLife Media, Nigeria's leading media company, to explore the conditions for the creation of a Pan-African investment vehicle targeted at the continent's film sector. Based on UNESCO's report, the investment vehicle will be crucial to the sector in Africa, enabling the sector to potentially reach a valuation of $20 billion annually from its current $5 billion valuation, while creating 20 million jobs from its current state of 5 million. An investment of that nature will improve access to financing for productions that promote original African stories around the world. The initiative reflects the recognition of IFC in the creative sector's vast potential to generate employment, especially among the youth, and foster an inclusive cultural narrative, as well as drive economic growth across emerging markets. According to the IFC, this effort is part of its long-term commitment to support industries that not only contribute to the GDP of African states, but also shape identity and social cohesion across the continent. EbonyLife Media has had several agreements with international studios such as Sony Pictures, Stars, Macro Film Studios, Westbrook Studios, and 22 Summers, that is co-founded by Idris Elba. It has also played a strategic role by bringing local expertise and global partnerships to the table. Mo Abudu, the founder of EbonyLife Group, early in the year acquired a property in London ahead of the launch of EbonyLife Place London in the fourth quarter of 2025. The facility will become the first cultural and creative hub of its kind in London, offering a platform for African filmmakers, for African creatives to showcase their talents and connect with global audiences. So it will be a vibrant convergence of African film, theater, music, food, arts, and fashion, and a home for African storytelling and talent to thrive on the global stage. Mo Abudu, CEO of EbonyLife Media, noted that with the IFC AfDB partnership, it was finally time to build an ecosystem in order to uncover new possibilities and provide capital for African filmmakers. This has taken time. We are defining and building an ecosystem designed to unlock new possibilities and provide critical capital for African filmmakers, she said. So that indeed is some good news for the African continent, particularly for the African film industry. And these are some of the news we've been hoping to hear. And finally, it has come to us. And Mo Abudu has been have been doing some great things, or taking in great initiatives, both for for the continent of Africa and for the African creatives. And she's been doing some great works, and this adds to the one of the biggest achievements, or perhaps the biggest initiatives that would see or bring to life a lot of content, most importantly from the continent of Africa. We can, as we saw in the article, she's done a lot of collaborations with a number of film companies from across the continent, or across the globe, where you have her teaming up with a lot of not just film production studios, but television networks that are creating content representing not just the African American demographics, but particularly also Africa. And this is indeed very powerful. You have even Idris Elba's Studios 22 Summers also collaborated with her, and that is good. Looking at the fact that Idris is on the continent trying to build, an ultra modern studio facility for creatives to have a place to shoot quality content, just as it's done in the West, and and that is what we want to see. And so, with the little information that they've provided, with the data that exists at the moment, in a few years' time, $20 billion will be created annually, or will be generated annually from the film industry. And that indeed, for that to be realized, there is the need for investment to be pumped into the industry to help generate that necessary quantum of revenue. And that is going to be done with this particular information, or partnership that is going to exist between Mo Abudu's company, EbonyLife, together with IFC and AfDB. So there is indeed a much welcome news that, I mean, is exciting to hear, because the major challenge that we have is investment in Africa. And a lot of individual producers and filmmakers are making do with what they can afford from their own pocket, sometimes from the help of friends, and sometimes from investors who, though, may understand a little bit about the industry, but may not understand the full capacity needed to make the industry thrive the way it should. So with Mo Abudu's experience, vast experience in the industry over these years, and the investment partnership that is coming, indeed, it will go a long way to help uplift the production value of films on the continent. And that has been a major challenge. We've, one way or the other, been able to create content that we can do the best to provide some form of production value. But with this much needed injection that is coming in, that hopefully will cut across the entire continent, and perhaps they will do the right justice to bring out the best stories and scripts necessary to be produced. It may go a long way to indeed uplift the production values, and then make us a force to reckon with, that would indeed rub shoulders with other industries from other continents the world over. So I am indeed excited about this news, and looking at what the diligence that they are going to pay attention to, or with the industry. I even believe that it's going to generate more jobs than the the 20 million the individual jobs is going to create. It may even be more. Currently, the number of jobs that exist at the moment is $5 million, 5 million, jobs. But I believe that with this much needed injection of capital into the industry, it may even generate more than the 20 million jobs that it has, earmarked for some time to come, and even generate more money than the $20 billion that has been indicated in the article. So this indeed is exciting news, and kudos to Mo Abudu of EbonyLife and all the team of IFC and AfDB, seeing to it that the African film industry grows the way it ought to grow, so that we can tell our original stories without it being watered down or influenced because of other investments coming from other places, which are most welcome. But you can't tell, it's best when Africans tell their own stories for Africans and by Africans. So indeed, it is exciting, and I'm happy about that. So moving from our first, so let me just know your thoughts on these. You can drop your comments or your thoughts with regards to this story, and let me know what you think. So moving on from that to the Korean industry, or to the Asian industry, Korea is facing some challenges, as perhaps many other countries are facing with regards to their cinemas. And as it stands now, there's been a big slump in terms of attendance in the theaters in Korea. And this has indeed been a challenge. And this article is published in the Hindus Times, and it reads that Korean cinemas big slump. Why no blockbusters are rocking theaters anymore? And this was published on the just July 7th, yesterday. And it says that Korean cinemas are facing their toughest year ever. Blockbuster hits are gone. Audience numbers are crashing, and even Hollywood can't save the vibe. What's really going on? So let me just read it quickly. The era of 10 million blockbusters is over. Whatever happened, uh, what's happened? Yeah, what's happened? So he says that remember when Korean movies like The Admiral, Roaring Currents, and The Thieves used to pull in more than 10 million viewers and literally everyone was talking about them? Well, that golden era age is officially over. For the first time in years, not a single film has crossed that magical 10 million audience mark in 2025. The numbers are so bad, it's making even the pandemic years look like a party. To put in perspective, the first half of this year saw only about 42.6 million cinema goers. That's less than what theaters managed during the worst COVID-19 scares, and a whopping 16 million fewer than last year. For Indian youth who grew up with Shah Rukh Khan, blockbusters, and massive first days, first show energy, imagine if even the biggest Bollywood films couldn't fill a single multiplex. That's the vibe in Korea right now. OTT platforms have changed the game. So this shift means only the absolute must-see think, uh, films think huge action flicks or star-studded dramas can tempt people to leave their couches. But even those are getting rare. The last few years, movies like the Roundup series and the Exuma managed to break through, but 2025 has been a total drought. The top grossing Korean film this year, Opposition Party, only managed 3.37 million viewers. Most others didn't even crack the 1 million mark. Even Hollywood blockbusters like Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, and Marvel's latest Captain America sequel flopped hard in Korea. No new big releases, no hype. It gets worse. The pipeline for new movies is drying up. During the pandemic, film production slowed way down, and the backing of unreleased vault movies has already been emptied. There just aren't many fresh, buzzworthy films on the horizon. For Indian movie buffs, think of it like a year with no big Diwali or Eid releases, just a handful of small movies trying to keep the lights on. This lack of tentpole films is a huge problem. In Korea, one blockbuster hit used to lift the whole industry would come for the big movie and end up watching others while they were there. Now, with nothing major to draw crowds, even smaller films are struggling to survive. Will theaters ever bounce back? The harsh truth is the Korean cinema industry is facing what some are calling the real pandemic now. Theaters are emptier than ever, and the culture of watching movies on the big screen is fading fast. Unless there's a serious change like a new wave of massive blockbusters or a shift back to valuing the theater experience, the glory days might be gone for good. And this is indeed a challenge that I believe is not just faced by the cinemas in Korea alone, but I would say it is faced by, you know, in several other countries, cinemas are going through this challenge. Particularly if you check the Box Office Mojo website, a number of the films that pre-pandemic they would have been performing extraordinarily, they dipped in terms of box office revenue post-pandemic, and that has been a challenge. And I don't know, I'm sure the challenge to this is not just attributed to the lack of perhaps top-notch quality films or blockbuster films that are perhaps, if they were to hit the cinemas, would have drawn audiences massively to attend. But I think beyond that, there is also perhaps the challenge of economic difficulties the world over, because if you pay attention to what is happening the world over in terms of box office, it has really dipped. And I'm sure economic reasons may be a contribution to that. But beyond that, also is the issue of perhaps the digital streaming platforms. And now more content are being produced or churned onto these platforms more than ever, offering it an alternative, entertainment avenue, as outside the, what's it called, the cinemas, for people to be entertained. So it then makes it even more complex than ever before, because sometimes cinema, cinema quality films are on these platforms, and people may weigh the odds and find out whether maybe that is it worth it to go to the cinema. So just as the article said, if there is not a bigger blockbuster movie that is very entertaining and then that has great word of mouth to draw people to go to the cinemas, people are likely to stay at home and watch, what they can find on those streaming platforms. So it is a myriad of problems that is resulting in what we are experiencing now in terms of the box office revenue that uh, individual cinemas or the world over are encountering. So this challenge and perhaps maybe mitigated by making sure that quality blockbuster films like what we experienced in perhaps the pre-pandemic era ought to really be put into the cinemas first, and avoid perhaps the day and date releases that cause a lot of movies to lose a lot of money just after the pandemic. So these are issues that really is bothering a lot of industries the world over. In America now, it seems like it is picking up with the advent of films like Lilo and Stitch, and Minecraft was something surprising because a lot of critics didn't really like the movie, but for some reason, the Gen Zs and the audiences, um, generally like the movie so much. So you have movies that are making it back and big in the cinemas. You have Neza 2 in China making it big, almost $2 billion. In other reports, it's also actually made $2.2 billion. Regardless of that differences, it is still some big money indeed that it was able to rake in. So there are pockets of successes happening all over, but generally the attendance I mean, attendance cinemas have really dropped, even in Ghana and the Africa world over, unless the movie is really a blockbuster with great word of mouth. You rarely have people trooping into the cinemas to watch it. So it is indeed a challenge, and hopefully, with quality productions being done, quality stories, and not just spectacles, but quality stories being churned out, it may perhaps turn the tide. Hopefully soon. Maybe with Superman coming and Fantastic Four coming and other big movies coming in this summer blockbuster releases, it may be able to up the attendance soon, hopefully. So it is indeed sad that things are not really panning out well for the Korean industry, cinema, and we hope that soon that will change, because a success, in some cinema industry in another country worldwide, I mean, wherever it may be, would help other industries worldwide. So indeed, my hope is that the fortunes change so that all industries world over would experience the best of success as we all desire and hope to find. So yeah, this wraps up my story for Korea from the Asian sector. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know whether wherever you find yourself in the world over, tell me what is happening. Are the cinemas receiving good numbers of attendance? And if they are not, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about what is happening? Do you think it has to do with the digital streaming platforms or economic reasons, or maybe not enough good quality stories are being produced, or even possibly skits and social media is perhaps contributing to it? Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. So, moving on from Asia to the North American market, there is a movie that is going to be remade, and that is the Thomas Crown Affair. And with this Thomas Crown Affair remake, is being done by none other than the Michael B. Jordan. So this would happen to be his second directorial effort outside Creed 3. And is already packing a list of big name actors. It's already packing a list of big name actors. And these are um, powerful names that have been mentioned. And this actually is or was published in the Hollywood Reporter. And you have Kenneth Branagh, Lily Gladstone. Kenneth Branagh is a director, writer, producer, and actor, award-winning actor. So that's an Academy Award-winning actor. And we also have Lily Gladstone, who starred um, in a Martin Scorsese film, and she won an Academy. She got nominated for an Academy Award, and that is Flowers of the Killer Moon by Martin Scorsese, where she starred opposite Leonardo DiCaprio, and also actually we also have Danai Gigura, who was who starred opposite Michael B. Jordan in the Black Panther, movie, and she was the head of the Dumalage. That is the female force female force in the Wakanda that protected the king. So that is she played the lead role. I mean, the lead of that group. So it is indeed adding up some heavy roster of characters or actors, and it is indeed exciting to see that Michael B. Jordan is really becoming a powerhouse to rake in these actors. But before we read a little bit of the article, the Thomas Crown Affair was first made in 1968, if my mind serves me right, and it starred Stevie McQueen, and also it was remade in 1999 with Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo. So this would be the third remake, or the third in terms of the film, but the second remake. So it is indeed exciting to have Michael B. Jordan at the helm of Affair, and he would also be starring in the movie as well. So let's just take a brief read of this article and then know what it has to offer. So Kenneth Branagh and Lily Gladstone joined Michael B. Jordan in the Thomas Crown Affair remake written by Boris Kitt. And it says the Academy Award winner Kenneth Branagh and Academy Award nominee Lily Gladstone have joined Michael B. Jordan in Amazon MGM's reimagining of the Thomas Crown Affair. Additionally, Charles Roven has come aboard to produce the film via his Atlas Entertainment banner. The veteran producer was behind last year's remake of Roadhouse for the studio. Jordan's fingerprints will be uh, all over the Heist feature, as he is not only starring in it but directing it as well as producing it with this Outlier Society banner. The company's Elizabeth Raposo is also producing. Production begins this week in London. The original Thomas Crown, made by United Artists in 1968, starred Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway and involved a man who organizes bank robberies for sport, but meets his match when he falls for, or maybe not, the insurance investigator hot on his tail. The 1999 remake starred Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo. Sources say this time the action is taking place in Europe while still keeping the art thieving theme. Taylor Russell is already on board as a suave private detective, sorry. Character details for Gladstone and Branagh are being kept under the umbrella. Amazon MGM has set a March 5th, 2027 theatrical release for the romantic thriller. Drew Pearce wrote the script for Thomas Crown after a previous draft was written by Wes Took and Justin Britt Gibson, which was based on the original film. Patrick McCormick and Toberoff Productions, Mark Toberoff, will also serve as producers. Alan Trustman, who wrote of the original 1968 film, is an executive producer. So yeah, it is indeed exciting to have MGM really supporting Michael B. Jordan. And if you care to know, Creed 3 was also by Amazon MGM. So indeed, it looks like MGM is now becoming the home of Michael B. Jordan's directorial efforts. And that is indeed, good news. And to have these big names like Kenneth Branagh and Lily Gladstone and Danai Gurira joining this particular remake or this movie for Michael Jordan shows how influential and indeed a powerhouse Michael Jordan is becoming, not just in front of the screen, but also behind the screen. For those who watch Creed 3, you would know that he did indeed put in some stellar, you know, directorial effort for Creed 3 and to have the sensibilities not just to be a director but to also give off stellar performances in terms of acting in front of the camera is indeed such a powerful thing to churn out. It's already not easy to produce and direct a film, but to double it up with the acting in front of the camera indeed shows how powerful of a filmmaker that Michael B. Jordan is. And to have Chuck Roven in his corner, Atlas Entertainment, in his corner to help steer the production is indeed a plus for him. So Michael B. Jordan indeed is becoming a force to reckon with, aside what we have of Ryan Coogler, we have, a host of other African American, directors making waves in Hollywood and the world over. So I'm indeed excited about this project. I don't know about you, but I'm really excited because then it means that the future of Michael B. Jordan is really, really bright, and we need such young um, African American with such visions to be realized. And this, though, may not be an original story, it's still a very crucial story that ought to be, remade for a new audience. So this may be perhaps the between 1999 and the time of release for this project may be almost 25, 30 years in the making, almost similar to the first one and the 1999 remake. So indeed, I'm excited about this, particularly for Michael B. Jordan being a force to reckon with. And I'm hoping this would indeed be so good to have the opportunity to be nominated for a Best Picture or even perhaps any of the actors to garner some form of nomination, hopefully for any of them. So I'm excited about this for Michael B. Jordan, and I'm sure he's even more excited than any other to have the name Kenneth Branagh, who is not just an Academy Award winner in terms of acting, but he is a powerful director in his own right, a Shakespearean director. Lily Gladstone, a Native American who churned up spectacular performance in the Flower of the Killer Moon by Martin Scorsese. And none other than Danai Gurira. I hope I'm getting the name right, but she is a powerful actress. A British-born powerful actress, and the British has always been good. When it comes to acting, Kenneth Branagh as well. Hailing from Britain, they have been powerful actors, and I'm sure with their inclusion, this is going to be a win. So let me know your thoughts on this story as well. What do you think of it? Do you think it's going to pull off such a powerful, picture when it's finally done compared to the first two? Whatever you think about this, let me know and share your thoughts in the comment section below. So all too soon, I bring this episode to an end. Since we are done with the stories, I'll come your way again tomorrow. And thank you so much for joining me for this very episode. I'm really excited that you tune in every day of the weekdays to join me for this episode. So I'll come your way again tomorrow with another exciting episode. My name is Papa O2, and this has been the Film Mandate. See you soon.